Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup, where we're going to cover a bit of news, look at the games from last night in the LCS, the playoff series, recap the series from this morning in the LPL, and then preview the games that occur in all four major regions tomorrow. So the sneak peek is definitely a larger part of this video. The only news, TSM have parted ways with their general manager, Glenn. Glenn was hired, or at least according to Leaguepedia, added as assistant GM at the beginning of 2022. And then after that, I don't know when he became GM. Maybe, I don't really have the Reggie timeline down, so maybe Reggie was GM and Reggie's situation occurred, and that allowed Glenn to be GM. I don't know. Either way, Glenn is out. He went as GM since he's joined the organization, 19 and 35, 3 splits. Recap. So for predictions, I'm 272 and 131 on the year. I was 3-0 today. FlyQuest, 3-0's 100 Thieves. Fly were 14th in the power rankings. 100 Thieves 24th. Spica was my MVP. Vikla went 23, 5, and 20 for 34% of FlyQuest's damage. Prince went 8, 3, 29. Doublelift 12, 9, and 9 for 32% of 100 Thieves damage. So game one was a blowout. FlyQuest rolled them. And that wasn't all that shocking because we expect FlyQuest to be the better team. Like all these, I picked Fly to win 3-2. I thought coming into the playoffs, FlyQuest were limping. I think it's pretty clear by how their win rate turned out, and even the manner in which they won games was not clean. And 100 Thieves came in 5-0 on a great weekend, right? And but it's just like we expected FlyQuest to win this series. At least I did. It was a matter of if Prince showed up, and honestly, I don't think Prince was the main carry in definitely game one and game two, and I'd argue game three as well. I really think he was their fourth best player, really, when it came to impacting wins. Pun intended, because impact I thought was a bigger deal than Prince was in this 3-0 win. So in game one, FlyQuest rolls them. They get Vigar. A lot of people question the Jinx Thresh bot lane prio for 100 Thieves. I don't think that was that problematic. I think they had the right idea, and I think that was evident in how FlyQuest adjusted for game two. But that is important because 100 Thieves did not adjust, and I feel like that has something to do with having a very inexperienced coach in NukeDuck. I understand NukeDuck's been around the block. He's a longtime player. Bjerg, longtime player. Doublelift as well. They've played long enough that they could probably do their own drafts, but you could see that the adjustments weren't there. The comfort in trusting each other to make adjustments was just not present. So game one, FlyQuest rolls 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves really struggle. Game two, however, 100 Thieves. NukeDuck even said afterwards in the pregame in the interview after draft, he was content with running it back the same draft. But you see that FlyQuest swapped out their bot laners. Instead of allowing it to go to 4-5, they made sure they got Zeri Lulu in 2-3, so they didn't end up with possibly Lucian again or Caitlyn, because in the first three bans on each side, I think only Varus was banned. So both teams were able to pick their 80 carries at will, and 100 Thieves had high Jinx prio. And so in game two, they take Zeri Lulu, which changes things completely in the second half of the draft. And 100 Thieves actually end up in a very good position. They are ahead big time in this one. 5k gold lead. They had Soul. Going down bot lane, sieging the base, and Tenacity overextends, tries to attempt to Scion ulti into Prince. It does not work. And not only that, it traps 100 Thieves because Spica is in the midst of a flank from the backside through the bot side jungle and completely screws 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves get blown up. They get aced. And this is huge because Impact ends up getting, I believe, more than just a couple kills. He might have gotten 3 or 4 kills in this. That gave K'Sante even more gold, that allowed him to carry the following fights, in my opinion, that really gave FlyQuest, the win, frankly. I think that fight in and of itself gave Impact gold, and Impact's K'Sante just became unkillable. And Spica, not only in that moment, but in many moments, looked fabulous. You know, we talk about adjustments. I just talked about adjustments. 100 Thieves and Doublelift said it. He said, if you guys keep banning 80 carries, it's not going to work out for you because I have played so long, I can play anything. And of course, that that's a little bit of hyperbole because not everything can be played at the equal level, but he is right. He's played everything. So FlyQuest say, well, we're just going to ban out Closer. And that's what they did. And it forced Closer on his Xin Zhao in Game 1 and Game 2, and it looked awful. You do not see high Xin Zhao prio across the world, and there's a reason for that. So, into Game 3, 100 Thieves still have that high Jinx Thresh prio, and they end up picking, I think they end up getting Wukong themselves. And 100 Thieves kept up in Game 3 for a good amount of time, but then eventually FlyQuest would just take over and really just run with it. I would not say this was as big of a blowout as a 3-0 would indicate. Like I said, Game 2 was definitely a throw by 100 Thieves. They had the game in the bag. Losing that fight, giving all that gold over, and giving Elder, actually, it resulted in Elder for FlyQuest. It was an unfortunate chain of events, and I don't think the bot prio was the problem. I think it was just mistakes. Some people in the Discord were citing builds as a problem. That's definitely possible. I really don't think it was the bot lane that was the issue with the 100 Thieves once again. And it was more so Spica finding really interesting flanks and doing a great job. He's done it all split long. Impact coming through when it mattered. Vikla playing very well after struggling for quite a couple, I would say maybe a couple weeks. The Vigar in Game 1 was disgusting. Game 3, he was also very good. So, in my opinion, it really wasn't Prince that dominated this series. It was everybody else. Definitely something to be afraid of going forward if you're another team, or anybody for that matter. LPL, LGD, and LNG. LGD 5 and 10, LNG 12 and 3, fourth in the power rankings. They went 2-0. Hung was my MVP. LP went 15, 1 and 12 for 29% of damage at 80 carry. Tarzan went deathless at 5-0, 21. LPC for LGD went 2-5-1, 31% of damage. We've got LGD, LNG. Their 80 carries are LP and LPC. Like, good God almighty. So I made Hung MVP because the Lucian Nami in Game 1 was extremely dominant. I mean, hell, you look at these KDAs and it was dominant. But his bubbles were on point, and he had 9 out of 9 KP to open up Game 1. And it was one of the better Nami games I've seen all year long, in my opinion. And it was surprising coming from Hung. So I ended up handing him MVP because I thought that was the most outstanding performance of the two games. Game 2, I thought that, Tarzan did some good things getting around the rift, as did Scout. And, Hung on the Leona was not as impactful. I think he had below 50% KP when the game finally got into a position where I thought LNG would have to throw to lose. That's... I mean, it's an expected result, really. I had 2-1 because LGD... I thought LGD is better than Ultra Prime. LNG lost a game to Ultra Prime earlier in the week. I thought it was possible LNG taking their foot off the gas towards the end and losing a couple games, but they showed up in a big way today. Thunder Talk and EDG. Thunder Talk 8 and 6. EDG 5th in the power rankings at 12 and 3. EDG would win 2-0. Leave was MVP. He went 15, 2 and 8 for 39% of the team's damage. Fofo went 5-4, 14 in mid. Wanfang for Thunder Talk went 8-4, 6, 28% of damage. Game 1, EDG really took care of business. I thought Fofo was actually the MVP of Game 1, along with Mako. I thought Mako did some very good things, but Fofo got around the rift on the Tristana, getting the team ahead. And once the team was ahead, Leaf started to clean up. But at that point, it was a 5-6K gold lead. And in my opinion, it's more important when it comes to, value in a game. How do I reword this? It's more important to me, and I consider it more valuable, if a player is very good at the moment that the team builds the lead versus the player that's doing great once the game's already out of hand. Like, if the game's already won and you're putting up 10 kills, I could give a shit less. Like, unless it's a penta, good for you. You really didn't do much in this one. frankly, all you did was just run up your stats when somebody else really did a lot of the work. And I thought that Fofo was very good in game one. Now, game two, Thunder Talk ended up in a massive lead. EDG really tanked the early game, getting picked off. Mako was all over the damn place, getting lost in the jungle and etc. Fofo dying early on in fights, which is why he takes himself out of MVP, because he was a negative, in my opinion, in game two. Ale getting caught out, but once the mid game occurred, I think it was the third Drake fight specifically, the game started to turn, and Leave actually did a ton of work in these team fights, getting a lot of damage dealt on the Xayah, cleaning up, and really brought the game back for them. I thought that Mako in these team fights also had some nice Renata plays, but in the end, it was Leave who was cleaning. I mean, opposite of game one, where Leave was cleaning up in the late game when the game was won. Game two, he really brought them back. And Thunder Talk, going into the playoffs, this was, I mean, you could have had a better series for sure. Would have been nice to win. But, or at least not throw game two, because they threw game two. They don't do that. 9-6, I think we're feeling a little bit better about TT, but they're in the playoffs, so, I mean, there's not a lot of nice things to really say about them. I thought that UCal was relatively non-existent. I mean, Juan Fang got them ahead in game two. I thought he was very good. I thought Hoya had some nice plays. Beshwan had a steal at one point. There was also a thing that I just remembered. Another key moment for EDG coming back in this series was sneaking a Baron. That really allowed them to catch back up in gold. That led to that Drake fight. So whoever made that call, frankly, in my opinion, probably should have been MVP. But without comms, not going to know that. Sneak peek for tomorrow. So in the LPL, we have BLG and OMG. This is a big time series. This might be a playoff preview. BLG 11th, OMG 12th, BLG 10 and 5, BLG 9 and 6. Oh shoot, BLG 10 and 5, OMG 9 and 6. Last time they're on the Rift, BLG would beat IG and OMG would beat Top. Last time they played, Week 9 in Summer, BLG would win 2-0. Only, actually, half of the starters overlapped from that one. Bin went 3-4-13 in top lane for 14% of BLG's damage. Shanji really struggled, going 0-7-8 for 18%. After that, we have the game that really matters very little. Ultra Prime, 3-12 against JDG, 12-3, and second in the power rankings. JDG beat LGD last time they're on the Rift. Ultra Prime lost to LNG. In Week 3 of Summer, JDG would win 2-1. Only 3 of the 10 starters from that series start tomorrow. All 3 are on JDG, 369, Kanavi, and Missing. Kanavi would go 17 kills, 5 deaths, 15 assists in that 3-game set for 17% of JDG's damage. Ultra Prime, Ning was in retirement. And lastly, a very important series. Nip at 5-10 against Team We, who are 7-8. Team We need to win to get into the playoffs. This is a win and get in. If they lose, they're out. So they must win. Nip beat RNG last time they're on the Rift, and Team We would lose to Weibo. In Week 4, Victory 5, now Nip, won 2-0 in Summer. 4 of the 10 starters overlap from that one. Dream in mid lane would go 5-1 and 19 for only 13% of Victory 5's damage. And Shanks really struggled in the loss, going 0-9 and 2 for 24% of damage. LCK playoff series tomorrow. We have KT third in the power rankings at 13 and 5, playing T1, who are 17 and 1 and first. T1 chose to play KT over HLE. That is an interesting decision. Very interesting. KT beat Sandbox in the playoffs last time they're on the Rift, and T1 haven't played since regular split when they beat Nongshim. In Week 6, T1 would win 2-0. Carria was the MVP on the Discord in that one, so we're going to highlight supports. Carria went 5-4 and 14 for 17% of damage. Lahens would go 0-5-6 in the loss for 7% of damage. LCS playoff preview, 100 Thieves coming off of that loss go to the losers bracket and play Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians are 9 and 9. last time they're on the Rift, 100 Thieves lost to Fly. Golden Guardians lost to Dignitas, which is a very, very ugly loss. In Week 7 of the LCS Summer Split, 100 Thieves would beat Golden Guardians. Closer was MVP on Lee Sin, going 7-2-5 for 13% of damage. River on Sejuani went 0-2-5 in the loss with 19% of damage. So we'll see how that best of 5 goes. I think it's going to be a close one. And then LEC preview for tomorrow. So Week 3, Day 1. Heretics and Astralis start us off. Oh, actually, shoot. I didn't... We're going to be guessing where these teams are ranked in my power rankings. So Heretics 2-4, Astralis 21st at 3-3. Heretics beat Mad Lions. Astralis beat Vitality last week. Last time they played was opening day of Winter Split. Heretics would win. Ruby went 10-3-9 on a Cassiopeia with 28% of damage against Dajor. Now Dajor is out. Leader is in, so we'll see how this one goes. Koi, we're going to go Koi 22nd in the power rankings against Excel. Koi 3-3, Excel 2-4. Koi lost to Fnatic. Excel lost to SK last time they're on the Rift. Week 1, Day 2 of Winter Split. Koi would win. Larson on a Cassidon would go 8-2-8 for 32% of damage. That was against Vethio. Vethio has been subbed out for Abadage this week. Reason why I didn't go over news. I did make it a notable thing when Abadage was signed as substitute, but I don't acknowledge when players are subbed out for others unless they leave the team. So, Vethio taking a break. He claims that he didn't want to take a break. Excel says they want to take a break for his health, give him a break for his health. So, you know, you look at the Danny situation and how that unfolded. There's a couple things going on with this. I think that Excel, for competitive reasons, this makes sense because they've had struggles, and frankly, if you believe, which I do, that these teams don't have any money because they spent it all on their rosters, Excel are in a position where they do not have an opportunity to swap out players mid-split, except for support, where Targamas has already been swapped out for limit, and then mid lane, because that's where the other substitute is. So swapping in Abadage for Vethio is the only move they can make to try and improve the team before, you know, finding a way to, you know, open up some budget. Now, that's a competitive way to look at it. Now, the mental health way to look at it, Vethio has made some tweets that would make you wonder if he's been on struggle street this year. I mean, it's definitely out there. So, when you look at EG and Danny, EG just tried to put the blinders on and make him play, right? And obviously there's other little differences in that situation, but I think the point still stands. Excel could still do this against his wishes for like, you know, I don't know how to word this, so he doesn't like hurt himself farther, if that makes any sense. You know, I think that there's two things going on right now that both could be true, like two birds with one stone almost. For lack of a better phrase. And, you know, because some people might think, oh, well, they're not, you know, they're probably lying about his health and this and that. And it's like, no, I think that with the EG situation, other teams, especially out in the West, you're going to take note of it and be like, hey, we don't want to get investigated or have any issues because we're pretending that this shit isn't happening. So we're going to take care of it right now. And I don't blame Excel for doing that. I think that makes sense. For Vethio's sake, for their sake, you know, I think that that's the move to make. So, we'll see how Abadage does in his place. Vitality and BDS. Vitality 13th in the power rankings, I think. BDS 20th. Both are 4-2. BDS lost to G2. Vitality lost to Astralis. Week 3, Day 2 of Winter. Vitality would win. Photon was MVP on a Gwen, going 10-2-4 for 24% of damage. Adam was on Kesante, 3-6-12, 15% of damage. After that, we have Fnatic and Mad Lions, both 2-4. Fnatic beat Koi. Mad Lions lost to Heretics. Week 3 of winter. Mad Lions would win. Niski went 8-2-2 on, I believe, a Cassiopeia. 28% of damage. Humanoid on Silas would go 0-5-6 in the loss with 17% of damage. And then lastly, we have G2 and XL. G2, I have 9th in the power rankings. SK possibly 13th. Maybe 12th, and Vitality's 13th. Like I said, I'm guessing here. I know they're in the power rankings. I know the hierarchy of them. So both are 4-2, both in the top 15 of the power rankings. SK beat XL, G2 beat BDS. In week 2 of winter, SK would win. Certus went 8-0-9 in mid lane on an Azir with 32% of damage. Caps went 4-5-1. I don't remember what he played, but he lost, dealing 21% of damage. So these two matchups here, big deal, big deal. This one too, I mean, the winner of that separates themselves from possibly Excel and Heretics to try and get up and out of the basement of the region so they can move on to the second round. There's good series, like in the regular season of the LPL and LEC, with only a couple games left, there is games of note. Like 2 of the 3 LPL series look pretty good as well. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a supporter, and thank you for watching.